Roman Reigns is back. Bloodline versus Bloodline right now on In This Very Ring.
I can't believe it! Yes! Yes! The Rock is going to WrestleMania! Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh, my unbelievable counter! Oh, my God! Unbelievable!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of In This Very Ring right here live on A2D Radio. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. My name is Ritz, and joining me, as he does each and every Friday night, the mayor of Toasty Town. This is Butters.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You're so stupid. I love you though. But we are back. We took a little bit of a hiatus last week. I took a last-minute trip to Disney because mental health is important.
Lucky bastard.
And Butters, I don't.
I watched Deadpool Wolverine.
It's fair. It was great. It was a last-minute trip. I booked it Saturday, and like the Saturday before I left, and it was starting to rain. And when I was in Epcot on Friday, and I ended up in my resort watching SmackDown for the first, like, in its entirety on a TV. Because normally I follow it on Twitter. I watch from my iPad because I'm getting ready. On an actual TV for the first time in years. It was peaceful. But we are brought to you by our friends at Baggio's Bread. Baggio's Bread is located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention AHUD Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. Well, we got a lot to cover because we haven't really been on since before SummerSlam. And obviously SummerSlam was a fantastic show. But what everybody was talking about afterwards, not just the Rhea, Dom, Liv segment, and then the Finn turning on Damian Priest, it was the return of Roman Reigns. And we had theorized that for a long time leading up to SummerSlam. SummerSlam has been Roman's show. That's where he came back right after the pandemic and turned heel and started that massive Tribal Chief run where he won the title the following week, because that's when they had those back-to-back pay-per-views that year. Won the title the following week, and from then on just never stopped. And so from there, right, we had him return on SmackDown last week and decimate the Bloodline. Ran through Solo, Tonga, Loa, and now this week on SmackDown, the Bloodline ran through him with the return of Jacob Fatu, still sporting the boot, but obviously Jacob was needed to kind of level the playing field because Roman just rolled through that Bloodline.
Even with the boot, the man was just speed, viciousness, and crazy. Like, I bet you put this man in a full body cast and he's still going to be able to beat your ass.
Exactly. I haven't seen it in the comments. I did want to bring it up as we kind of went through everything. Afa, the other half of the Wild Samoans, did pass away this afternoon. It was reported yesterday. It was a little bit it was misinformation, but he did finally end up passing earlier this afternoon. So our thoughts and prayers out to the entire Anoa'i family for that massive loss. But our topic of conversation today, based on everything that's happened, Roman's Bloodline will start to take form after Bash at Berlin. Bash at Berlin is only 2 weeks away. And with Roman now kind of getting laid out this week, are we going to start to see the playing field level itself out? And if so, who do we start to see as we build to Survivor Series? Butters?
I'm going to agree to the poll. I see it slowly taking its form, probably through to Survivor Series. We're going to start seeing probably the return of Jimmy. Then we'll see the formation of Jay and Sammy come over because they're expecting tag title shots. They want tag title shots with the Judgement Day. Maybe they get it at Bash in Berlin. Maybe the Bloodline, stomps a mud hole in them and they decide, you know what, let's kick it over to Roman. Let's, help him out because it's 1-on-4 right now, and he can't, handle it all. I do agree, though, like I said, that, we will see Roman's OG bloodline starting to take form after Bash in Berlin.
Before I get to my thoughts on everything, Christian, welcome into the chat. He goes, my name's Christian. What's your favorite match for WWE Bash in Berlin? And will Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship live up to the hype? So far, there's only 3 matches on the card for Bash at Berlin. I can't tell you what my favorite match is going to be. As of right now, I'm probably leaning towards the mixed tag team match. I do think Gunther versus Randy will live up to the hype. It is a repeat from their King of the Ring match.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. Don chiming in, what's going on? Chuck Moranin over there on Facebook. Lynch is here. He goes, how many more cousins does Roman have? They got more family members than the Wyatts. Agreed. It's a massive tree. There are a lot of things in play. That's why I don't know if I still see Sami Zayn as part of this. Where are the Usos at? I'm feeling Usi. My take on Roman's bloodline. When you think about, so Bash at Berlin is August 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow. After that, you have Bad Blood, which is October 5th. So you go a solid month, right? 4 weeks without an event. And then after Bash in Berlin, you have Crown Jewel November 2nd, Survivor Series November 30th. So we're looking at from Bash, okay, 4 weeks till Bad Blood, 1, 2, 3 weeks till Crown Jewel, and what did I say? 30th? 3 weeks from Crown Jewel to November 30th. So that's a solid 2 months, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's actually almost 3 months, a full 3 months time from Survivor Series. I'm sorry, from Bash in Berlin to Survivor Series. I don't know if you can draw this out that long. There is a part of me that says Bash in Berlin will happen. I think somehow there's something on the card revolving around, and somebody said it earlier. Where was it? Christian actually asked, will Roman Reigns fight Solo at Bash in Berlin? I could see that being on the card and it just ending in complete and utter debauchery, which will then give them 4 weeks time to build to Bad Blood.
Well,
I think that's where we see the culmination of everything. You brought Roman back, and you know that he's going to have his own group to take these guys on. I just don't know if you can do this over the course of 3 months.
Well, you could, because
when all the hold on. Other than a Zilla or somebody like that, somebody that hasn't debuted yet, other than Jimmy's return, all the players are already there. And there's no guarantee that you're right or I'm right in the sense of we've talked about the OG bloodline going up against this new school bloodline. There's no guarantee that happens. But there's also no guarantee that Roman comes in with Jimmy J, and again, I'll use somebody like Zilla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And bring a new person into the fray and really truly keep it blood within the family. So it's hard to stair step that one. If they have a match at Bash, then I mean, either way, you have to agree to the poll, right? It's only Bash is only 2 weeks away. The disagreeing factor is if they have a match at Bash, it's starting at Bash at Berlin. Like Daly says, Jimmy will be the first to join in Germany if the match happens to be on the card. Right? Daly's on that right track.
Well, you can have them say, Bash in Berlin, everything starts here. Bad Blood's next. You have them fight over the Ula Fala, and that just ends in utter chaos with Solo still keeping it. You take it to Crown Jewel, where Roman or somebody takes on another member of the, say, either Jacob Fatu or Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, somebody, and then once it's all said and done, culminated into this. All right, we don't want two bloodline factions happening anymore. Here's it's going to be the Last Stand Survivor Series. We take winner takes all, bloodline standing.
Say that again.
I know it didn't sound right.
So hold on. let me see if I'm with you here. They have a match at Bad Blood for the what's the damn thing called again?
The Ula Fala.
Ula Fala. Okay.
If I'm saying it correctly.
Who cares? We're gonna call it a necklace. Just because I don't want to offend anybody. It's a necklace. Because I'm not calling it a lay. I know it's not that. Anyway. So
Solo somehow retains.
You build this match, whether it's a individual, like again, if we're doing it at Bash, right? If it's a one-on-one, okay. Solo retains because he's got his crew. They come out, they level the playing field. It can be contested under Bloodline rules, which I think if it is for the necklace, it should be under Bloodline rules. I think that should be like the caveat to that. Almost tie that match to that object, which would allow for the pandemonium to happen. Solo wins, but that's not without like Jimmy making an appearance or something like after the fact to make the save, whatever have you. Maybe Jimmy and Jay, we get both of them at the same time, so it's almost like an even playing field. Because if you have Jacob still sporting the boot in 2 weeks, which ideally he is, right? Or you don't have Jimmy, you have Sammy and Jay make the save
because they're
already going to be there. There's a logical reason for them to already be there.
Yes.
Right? You bring Jimmy back at a later time, but then Jimmy's not a... If I had to compare them, right? Jimmy's return, while yes, it will be exciting, it doesn't hit on the same level that you see with
Jay and Sammy.
Well, with Jacob, right? What's the answer to Jacob? The Godfather's here. Mr. Tom Arnone. What's going on, boss man?
What's up, Tom?
So Tom's going to take the disagree route. So Tom thinks, realistically, it's going to happen either next week, giving out this beat, what happened with this beatdown, but then also with the at Bash at Berlin, where we're kind of talking about right now with, Sammy, Jimmy, Jay, what we envision the OG bloodline being.
Yes.
Malakovic is here. Daly jumped over to YouTube. CM Punk's bracelet and the Ula Fala are the most popular or more popular in WWE right now.
I mean, he's not lying.
You're not. But, and then Chris said, it should be a ladder match with it hanging above. That's an interesting play as well, too. I just don't.
I don't see something that sacred being hanging from.
Not even just that, right? You don't want to break it. Somebody tugs on it, it breaks. It's a whole different argument.
You tug on that wrong. I mean, you could technically put it either in a briefcase or in some sort of casing that could, keep it from breaking. But at the same time, you still don't want to take that risk of breaking something that's so sacred
Always got to be different. I love it though.
So sacred to this dynasty that breaking it, that could be a whole nother storyline in of itself.
By the by, because I haven't been on since it happened, so I want to publicly give a big shout out to the boss man for the birth of his beautiful baby girl. I guess at this point, a week or two ago. It's not been that long, right? But I haven't been on the air, so big shout out to the boss. But no, like to go back to what we were talking about at Bash at Berlin, right? If we focus on Bash at Berlin being a kickoff point, being a point where you have somebody else show up, having Jay and Sammy there makes sense because there's a chance they're going for the titles there. I know the match is supposed to happen on Raw, I believe, this week.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, like it's supposed to happen this week on Raw, I do believe, or maybe they are teeing it up for. It was kind of vague when they were talking about it, so I'm not sure where that's going to fall into play. But it makes sense they're already there. Jimmy's not a big enough return. He has been out for a while, so he will get a little bit of a pop. And maybe you do it overseas where people are going to be excited to see that return. Right? Maybe that's where you do it.
Yep.
And maybe you don't have Sammy come down right away. Maybe you do have Jimmy and Jay come down, right? Let Sammy come in at a later point. Jay brings Sammy in, or Sammy saves Jay at on a Raw one night when Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa run out and attack. There's many different ways I can play that to weave Sammy into the thread.
Mm-hmm.
Is Roman the answer to Jacob, though? Because we've heard so many rumors that Jacob was put in the boot to keep him and Roman from having a direct confrontation. But then we saw tonight where Jacob in the boot did level Roman, give Tama Tonga, Loa, and Solo the advantage that they needed to put Roman through the table.
Mm-hmm.
So but then, okay, and we're gonna go down a rabbit hole here. If Jacob is the answer to Roman and Roman's the answer to Jacob, what is Solo? Who's supposed to be the tribal chief, who's supposed to be the head of the table in this fact, the leader of this faction, but yet you're not the most dangerous one. That's what worked with shit. That's what worked with the Bloodline. Roman was the most dangerous one.
Yep.
Right? They played off Solo as having the spike and the spike being, the most dangerous thing, but that only lasted for the first little bit. Once his once the honeymoon phase was over, Solo was just another guy there. Right? But Roman was the true heavy hitter in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Solo, who looks the part, can't speak the part worth a damn, right? But then you've got Jacob Fatu, who outperforms and outshines Solo week in and week out when it comes to a viciousness.
And see, and that's, when WWE signed him, that's what they were afraid of.
There's our guy, the OGP of A2D, chiming in over there on Twitter. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Pete?
Solo Sikoa carrying the tag team belt looks hella weak. Agreed.
They were afraid of this when they signed, Jacob Fatu, that he was going to outshine Solo, with Solo being the tribal chief. And you see it day in, day out. To your point tonight, he is outshined, done Solo Sikoa in so many ways. It's.
But there's a way to bring, and I think what they've done everything right with Jacob. I don't think they've done anything wrong with him, so I wouldn't change a thing about him.
Correct.
Right? what I would change is, and I'm not sure what, I don't know. I don't have the answer for this, right? So this is very much a pipe dream. As vicious and as brutal and as violent as Jacob is, you have to find a way to make Solo better than that. Right? Yeah, I'm going to call in the werewolf, and the Samoan werewolf's going to come in and wreck shop and this, that, and the other thing. And somebody could sit here and say that it's a smart play because Solo's not getting his hands dirty like Roman did. Right?
Yeah.
He's letting his enforcer do all the work, and he works smarter, not harder, right?
Just like Roman.
But when you think about in the match and what you're trying to portray yourself as, you have to be able to hold your own against the leader of the other faction.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. And that's the problem. That's the biggest problem with Solo Sikoa. That when you're looking at the other rival faction and you put Solo on one side and Roman Reigns on the other, the scale tips drastically. And not in Solo's favor. And I said it. I said it last week. I think I messaged all of you guys as Roman was beating him down. Show me how you embarrass the bloodline without showing me how you embarrass the bloodline. What we saw last week was a prime example of how you can take something that you built such a dominant force of, and it's a good and bad thing on two different fronts, and I'm going to break down both fronts. On one aspect, it's a bad thing because the Bloodline's supposed to be the most dominant faction on SmackDown, and yet one man walked in here and ruined you. But on a good side, you can sit there and say, this tells a great story because nothing's better than the original.
Yep.
This helps Roman so much. Not that he bloody needs it. And it hurts Solo. Right? If Solo was able to lay out Roman tonight and then the Bloodline come in and kind of swarm him and do their thing, fine, deal, sure. But it shouldn't take four guys to beat down one man.
Nope.
Chrome jumping in. Hey, boys, agree to the poll. So to put
I agree with what you're saying. It shouldn't take all these people to take down one guy. He proved for 3 years why he was the one guy. 3 years straight proving why he was the one guy that you can't take down.
Right, which is fine, and I'm cool with that. And you're continuing that story, that long-term storytelling, if you want to call it, right? But then how can I take, if you get the OGs back together, other than, Jacob Fatu's a problem, right? And Tama Tonga can be a little bit of a problem. Solo Sikoa can hold his own.
Mm-hmm.
Tonga Loa is a dog water dumpster fire. That man can't even hold a title right, let alone do anything else. You have, it is not as cohesive. And don't get me wrong, these guys the odds are stacked against them because you are taking four, for all intents and purposes, rookies in the business. While I understand that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa have been around for a while, when you look at their WWE tenure, they're all rookies.
Yes.
And you're putting them up against the Bloodline, who, four established stars in Roman Reigns, who is the face of your company, the Usos, who are arguably one of the best tag teams of the last easily 20 years, if not of all time. They're a top 10 contender for best tag team. Dare I say top 5. Right?
I can agree to that.
And then you've got Sami Zayn, who is literally an all-around perfect gelled fit to that dynamic. And your mid-card guy. So you had a heavyweight, a mid-card, and a tag team. You had a perfect storm. If they would have called Solo Sikoa's team anything other than the Bloodline, we're not sitting here having this conversation.
Nope.
We're talking about whatever they call themselves. And for lack of a better phrase, we're going to call it the Anoa'i family versus the Bloodline. I don't have expectations for the Anoa'i family. These are the young dogs trying to take out the older generation.
Exactly what it is.
Useful. Cool, I'm there. But when you're comparing Bloodline to Bloodline, it was no different than the comparison of the NWO Black and White to the Hollywood to Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood just had everybody, but the Wolfpack was cooler. Right? Everybody wanted to be part of the Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not balancing the scale, and I think that's the big problem as we gear up for Bad Blood, as we gear up for Survivor Series. The story can write itself, but will it hold the same kind of water in 3 months' time? Will they be able to take what they did with debuting Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, and do that with building Roman's team when you know that the team, that the people are already there, the players are already part of the company. We're only waiting on one to come back. The writing's on the wall of getting the band back together. How do you balance the scales of justice?
Justice? Did someone say justice?
I did. Pete Evans, the aren't in their. I think he means the odds aren't in their favor.
I wish he would come back.
Chris saying, once all the family members are signed, the Bloodline will come together at the end of War Games with both sides honoring the Wild Samoans, which I'm cool with. If they do that moment, I'm in. Tama Tonga was a Bullet Club member. I agree. But and that's why I amended my statement. When I think of WWE tenure, the big time tenure. Hi, Spencer. That's her thing. Wasn't that 6-man headlining? What 6-man? What are you talking about?
Right? I ain't heard of a 6-man of anything.
Chris goes, I think the Bloodline loses the titles to the Street Profits before War Games. So the Street Profits won tonight. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. So I actually want to bring up some so here let's throw something else out there. And Jax and I were kind of talking about this off air, and me, Jack, Silent Hill, we have our little group chat. Jax was talking about it. I was just kind of getting ready for the show, keeping my eyes on it all. What's to say that Roman doesn't help the Profits win the titles next week?
I can see it. It'd work.
It would.
It's revenge for the beatdown. It sends a message to Solo that I'm coming for you.
Because Solo's not going to come out with them. Jacob's not going to come out with them. It's a perfect time to catch somebody vulnerable.
It's the perfect storm. It's to your point. By the time Roman comes out there and does anything, it's going to be too late for anyone to come out and help out the Bloodline.
Yeah. And then you can use that to kind of build and play and roll into Bad Blood Survivor Series. This is the one time and the only time I'm going to say this. Roman Reigns' return was too early. It was perfect. Don't get me wrong. I love the moment. It capped off. SummerSlam was great, but I can't write, and there are smarter people than me. Thank God, doing this. I can't write compelling stories without telling the same thing over again that get me to Survivor Series. And mind you, we're all assuming that Survivor Series War Games is the end goal here. It might not be. Bad Blood might be the end goal.
Yeah.
Right? That's a little bit of a better timeline for things. But we don't know.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Do you have anything else Bloodline related before we kind of move on? We're gonna kind of bounce around on some different topics in wrestling after this. Anything?
All my blood's drained.
Gross. God, that was nasty.
That was not supposed to be nasty.
Why'd you say it?
Because it's supposed to be meant to joke as Bloodline blood.
Shut up.
Meaning I was done with the Bloodline for the now.
Uh-huh.
You ruined everything, damn it.
Yeah, get over it.
Okay.
So let's go back to Raw the last couple weeks. Let's talk about the Judgment Day. It's something we've talked about for weeks now. We saw, and we even kind of predicted how it would go. I know that Pete kind of laid out the groundwork for all of this, was a big proponent of laying out the groundwork. So I wish he was on tonight to kind of take his flowers and relish in the fact that he's right. How do you feel, Butters, about the way this has played out and how we've now got this intergender match at Bash at Berlin? I'm sorry, mixed tag team match at Bash at Berlin. The Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus the Judgment Days, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan.
I mean, I'm good with it. They've done it right, slowly. Damien's kind of gone through a good chunk of the members of the Judgment Day now. He's still got to go through Dom and then finally get to Balor. So maybe we'll see Damien go up against Finn Balor at Bad Blood. But I like they've come out the past 2 weeks. They've called out the Judgment Day. Rhea's been trying to get her hands on Liv Morgan, and this would be the perfect time for her to get her hands on Liv Morgan. Even though
she's come close.
Yes, she's come close. And all because Liv's been dumb enough to try to get, Liv a run, but then all of a sudden here she comes flying out of nowhere.
Yeah, so
batshit crazy girlfriend vibe going on.
We all saw the turn coming.
Mm-hmm.
And when Finn turned on Damien, we started to see the writing on the wall. We always thought this would be a 6-man tag team match, right? With, kind of Finn. Actually, we saw it Finn, JD, and Liv versus Dom, Rhea, and Damien. We never really saw Dom turn. We talked about it, but at the end, we always fell on Dom, Damien, and Rhea versus Liv, JD, and Finn.
Mm-hmm.
But now having this with the Terror Twins, I love the dynamic between Damien and Rhea. I love how you've done a great job of telling the story where Rhea has not been able to get her hands on Dominic or Liv. Right? She has more players in this game. Really, if you think about it, Damien's only really pissed off at Finn. While, yes, he's mad at the others for siding with Finn and kind of kicking him and Rhea out when they were, and again, we're back to another conversation of the original versus the expansion pack. Right? But this time it's done a little bit differently to where you have Damien and Rhea at their peaks, at their career peaks, and everybody balances each other out. Dominic's such a monster nuclear heel where it doesn't matter what he does, people are going to boo him. By proxy, that automatically takes JD, Finn, Liv, and even Carlito. Why I don't understand he's there, it's beyond me. I hope
he's just a body.
Yeah, he's just another body at this point. But it brings so much more heat on them. And then you also think about it, it's Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Over like Rover. Neither one of them has their own title, but they're still such a high-profile piece of Monday Night Raw. Their segments are better featured than the Gunther Randy Orton segments. I get it; it's only a few weeks old, but Gunther is not impressing me as a champion right now. Because, and solely because, and it's not an insult to Gunther, the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day is such a more compelling story than just a rematch of King of the Ring. Yep. Right? So I'm very excited for where this goes. It is what I tune into Raw for mainly right now, is to see the next evolution in this story. And now, and they've done a great job. I need to see Liv and Rhea, essentially Rhea give Liv the Riptide. Right? That is what they're building towards. That is what's going to really hit in this story once Liv and Rhea finally lock horns. So
now this intergender, is it going to be?
It's a mixed tag. It's not intergender. I misspoke.
Okay.
Yeah, I misspoke on that.
So it's just straight up regular, regular rules for the girls.
Yeah, mixed tag team rules. Yep.
Okay.
The men will fight the men. The women will fight the women.
Okay.
How do you feel about? And we're just gonna keep bouncing around here. The Wyatt Six versus the new Alpha Academy with the Creed brothers and Chad Gable, and now Ivy Nile, which was inevitable. I don't know why everybody was super like shocked about this.
We all knew it was coming. We just didn't. We were just wondering how
Right,
long.
she's always been paired with them. I was a little surprised that it came in the form of an attack like that. Mm-hmm. I would have figured they would have done more of a little backstage segment of her being, mean and rude to
the attack was the attack was welcome because she was interfering in the match. So it's right. Like, hey, get your hands off my boys. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was unprovoked, right? Correct. I was a little weird for me, given that it's Ivy Nile beating down on Maxine that way.
Yeah. I'm liking this new dynamic of this new Alpha Academy. I'm liking the dynamic of this new Wyatt Six, especially this tag match. It was a good match. I get it, Now where are they going to go to now? Are they going to still go after, Alpha Academy, or are they done with them now? Are they going to go somewhere else? Are they going to, take on somebody else? Has justice been served? Because that's what it seems like the topic is against Chad Gable is, serving justice to Chad Gable.
Yeah. And I don't know the answer to that. That's the best thing about it, though, about this storyline is
you don't know where the hell it's going.
And you don't want to know. Like, you almost don't want to know because you want to be left in suspense and shock. And what are they going to do next? Yeah. And literally, and knowing that this is kind of like Bray's final brainchild, just kind of sitting back and letting them do what they're going to do, and just being along for the ride. I think that's part of it for me, at least. Something else I want to get your thoughts on. We haven't talked about it yet, and I feel like it's time we start talking about it. The New Day.
I see it coming a mile away.
I do too. Xavier Woods. Well, hold on. Let's set the stage because it's what we always do. Okay. The Final Testament, and specifically Karrion Kross, has been targeting the New Day and specifically Xavier Woods, trying to get into Woods' head and trying to tell him how, essentially he's been held back and he hasn't achieved the same kind of status that Big E or Kofi has, and just beating down verbally and mentally, as well as physically, on Xavier Woods. Kofi, and this was all while Kofi was out. Kofi comes back from injury, right? Those two kind of, Kofi joins up with him again to take on the Final Testament. And then they bring in Kofi brings in Odyssey Jones. Much to the dismay, I guess you could say is a good word for it, of Xavier Woods.
Mm-hmm.
And Xavier's not really all that excited that Odyssey is here to help. And how it plays as you watch it is, Kofi, you made this decision without asking me, and you're essentially replacing Big E.
Yeah.
That's not what we've never done that before. And now Odyssey is a problem. That
man's a beast.
That big son bitch.
It's almost Mark Henry 2.0.
Yeah. Big problem.
What was it? Xavier Woods said something a little while back. Nobody's going to break up the New Day. No, Karrion Kross, the Final Test, but the only way they're the New Day's breaking up is if the New Day breaks up. New Day breaks up New Day.
Yeah, and I think
he breaks the New Day. Something to that effect. Nobody but the New Day is breaking up the New Day in a sense.
We said it when Xavier won the King of the Ring. Is this going to be is his ego going to get so big that he kind of separates himself from the New Day? And obviously injury and different things like that happened, and we couldn't really see that all come to fruition. I think this Karrion Kross curse, almost as you call it, where everybody that Kross interacts with changes and is different after they interact with him. I think it's going to be what will tip the scale for Xavier and maybe get him to a point where he can hold a singles title, where he is a mid-card guy. Not that he's not, but a contender in the mid-card world. And he's not just as a tag team specialist.
And that jealousy, stemming from the fact that Kofi and Big E's won the big one, and he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's never won the world title, the WWE title, but Kofi and Big E have. What is he doing wrong? What is he? And now, Odyssey's here. The looks he's been giving is like, I'm not liking this. This isn't a thing. It screams New Day's breaking up. And as much as I don't want the New Day to break up, because you would think this is the one tag team.
It's one of the few factions that have been around for 14 years, 15 years?
Mm-hmm.
Right? One of the longest tenured factions in professional wrestling
that's
as of right now. That's never broken up. That's never, right? They've gone from face to heel to face, things like that, but they've always been the same three guys. There's been no different iterations of them.
I would hope that they don't break them up. I understand that they do if they do, but to me, I wish this would be the one faction, the one team that rides off into the sunset together, and it's like once they're done.
What I want to see is, after this whole thing, what I would be okay with is Xavier saying to Kofi, hey man, we've had a good run for 15 years. He's retired. He's not coming back. We've done it all as tag teams. I need to go find my own feet. You've won Intercontinental title. You've won the U.S. title. You won the WWE title. I've only ever held tag team gold. I need to go out there and see if I can do it on my own. And shake hands and walk away. Even if you want to be a little bit of a dick about it, right? Shake hands, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would be okay with that. I'm in the same camp as you in the sense of, if it comes to any kind of violent beatdown from Xavier to Kofi, I'm not okay with that. Because here's the problem. Here's what happens. Xavier will get lost in the shuffle very quickly.
Yep. As much as, everybody loves Xavier, Kofi, the New Day, and if they, if Odyssey is the catalyst to break up the New Day, what a waste of Odyssey, in my opinion.
But I don't think it's going to be intentional.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm okay with that, right? Because then you're still going to keep Kofi in a tag team role, which I think is kind of where he's okay with being. You're gonna put a veteran with a young guy and give him that rub, help build him up. You're not having just another Bronson Reed on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a very unique dynamic of a tag team. That's why Big E and Kofi would always work when they would tag together, or Big E and Xavier work when they would tag together. It's that fighting style dynamic that works really, really well. And when you think of other tag teams out there, he's a perfect answer to somebody like AOP.
Yep.
Right? Or again, even Bronson Reed, right? However you play this out, he's a perfect answer, but in a tag team sense. So I think won't say he's the catalyst, but he will play an unwilling hand in all of it.
I can see that.
Yeah, because the way they have him portraying right now, he's just doing it because it's essentially like, I won't say his idols, but these are people he grew up watching and idolizing.
This is this is a group that he could idolize, watch, and be like, I want to be them one day.
Yeah. So, Chris Lentz, Bronson Reed, who's gonna stop him? Can I be honest with you?
You don't care.
It's not that. Because I like Bronson Reed. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he's a good character. Just this beatdown on Seth. What?
Seth's still injured. It's the way to take him out.
No, I get it.
That you're beating down one of the top guys because you feel like you should be in one of those spots that
it's way too overdone. It's way too cliched.
I mean, every time he got up on the top rope, he didn't even jump. He just stepped off.
Right.
Like, bro, just jump.
I get it. Again, you want him, if Seth is really still injured, as bad as they say he is, right? There's some protection there for Seth. Fine. I'm not totally mad at that. But you were going after the Intercontinental title like 2 weeks ago. And now that Braun's got the title, oh, you scared. Oh, you big scared. You're just a big bitch. Got it.
Nobody wants to mess with Braun Breaker, the mover of rings, the shaker of...
Shut up. What else you got for me? Come on. We got 12 minutes. Hit me with something.
Nia Jax ceremony this evening?
It looked like homecoming.
It
looks like a high school homecoming.
I see that Stratton turning on her because
Rich, you gotta chill. Hold on. No. Stop it. You shut up. I'm gonna talk to him for a minute. Here's the thing. Here's what's beautiful about this. I don't. Right? Because in some deep, dark recess of your mind, in your most private hours, I'm right. And I only have to chill because it eats away at you that I'm right. That's why Butters hates having conversations with me. Why? Because I'm right. That being said, though, I do appreciate everybody in the chat. I love hanging out with you guys. I love I love that we have a consistent chat, right? Like, I as much as I love, how the other shows will always get different people coming in and whatever have you. I love our consistent core group of guys because you build a relationship where I can screw with them and they don't get butt hurt.
Right. How do you feel about the continuation after their match at SummerSlam? The continuation of CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Should it be done or should they keep going?
Well, I mean, we talked about it on that show, right? I thought the only way for it to keep going was going to be for Punk to win, right? I thought that made the most sense. I thought that would kind of fuel the fire for Drew. But now you have this switch and it's all over a bracelet. It doesn't excite me, right? I'm kind of in the same mindset here. How many more CM Punk Drew matches do we need? How many more? We've been screwing with this since April. Punk's been hurt, right? Now we're finally getting the matches, so I get it. But
is this going to culminate into, say, a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood?
But does it need to?
No.
That's the point, because in a normal storyline, you would have had your 3 matches and you moved on by now, right? We've gotten 4 or 5 months of them screwing with each other every so often.
And we've only had one match.
The man wants to talk about NXT. Let's talk about NXT.
How about that Chase U tag title?
I'm so happy. That makes me so happy for them. I'm still upset that Thea hasn't won the women's title yet. I'm very upset. I thought that match was great with her and Roxanne the other week, and I really thought Thea was going to win.
Ridge Holland is getting a little bit of redemption.
Yes, I thought that was great for him. I'm a little, I won't say I'm sad, right? Because they really did a good job of positioning Duke Hudson as the mid-card guy within that group. Right, with him going for the North American Championship a few weeks ago. In another stellar match. I think everybody in Chase U is fantastic. Like, I love, if you have to tell me, pick my favorite thing about NXT right now, and it's been for a while, it's been Chase U.
Yes, I can attest.
Don't get me wrong, I love that Joe Hendry is here, and I love that he's going for the title. Right, I love Trick Williams. Right, but Chase U is NXT for me. Like, that is what, when I go to look at results on a Tuesday, first thing I did, what did Chase U do? Joe Hendry is the next big star in NXT. Joe Hendry is a big star in NXT. That you need to fix that. I think Joe Hendry is taking, and I will die on this hill. He is taking the title off of Ethan Page at, what is the next one? No Mercy?
No Mercy or Vengeance or something like that?
Whatever the next title defense is.
So, Wesley's turn after reuniting.
Couldn't care less.
Damn. Okay.
Because it was... You put them back together. You had them go back and forth between TNA and Impact. Right? And so you decided to turn him heel when you had a great, like, you had the makings of something great there, which was, and it already was great. Just to turn him heel and now have him go for the NXT title? Stop it.
You could have had them win the NXT titles, go over to TNA, win the TNA tag titles, and that would have been an interesting dynamic of a tag team having the titles from both brands.
Yeah, it would have been something. I thought you pulled the ripcord on that one way too early.
Yep.
I don't think you needed to have this dynamic, because here's what's going to happen realistically. There's going to be a triple threat match with Pete Dunne, Joe Hendry, and Wesley. The winner's going to face Ethan Page at NXT for the NXT title at No Mercy. We all know how this is going to go. We've been here before. Somehow Ethan Page is going to make it to where it turns into a fatal 4-way. Because it's what we always do in these scenarios. It's a wrestling cliche.
Give me my damn singles match. I'm tired of seeing these world title matches in NXT going for 4 ways, 3 ways, 6 ways. I'm tired of the multi-man matches right now.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. You want to showcase more talent and see how people react to more people. I understand, right? I'm not completely mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't set up to where every pay-per-view we're having a title and a multi-man match.
The one thing I am liking is, this gauntlet match they've put together where the majority of the women in this gauntlet match have never had a shot at the title.
Ren Sinclair.
Hey, man, she did a hell of a job helping Charlie Dempsey win.
Saw that. Lynch, how long will Gunther's reign be? Honestly, let's get through this Randy Orton thing, and let's actually put him in a story that is not organic, but new and kind of fresh. And let's talk then. Joe Hendry's not even officially signed to WWE, so that won't happen anytime soon.
I have not been interested in this Randy Orton Gunther match since he come out and I'm like, they spoke their piece and announced match and said, oh boy.
Like, I'm excited for the match because I think it'll be a good match, right? Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be a good match. I just don't understand why this is the first thing we're doing. His first title defense, you went to SmackDown to go get somebody to fight him.
At least Cody Rhodes KO might be a little more interesting in my eyes.
I think that one's going to be very interesting. That's definitely a match to watch as well. But I think Ren Sinclair wins. I want to see Ren win the gauntlet match. I want to see her go and beat Roxanne for the title.
Yes.
Do I think it's going to end up being Sol Ruka? Yeah, I do.
Hey, I would not like that. I mean,
there's no bad answer here, I don't think.
No, I'm a big Sol Ruka fan, especially that finisher of hers. But Sol Ruka's been impressing me more and more week after week. So if she wins it, cool. I'll root for her.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else? We got about 3 minutes left here.
I got nothing because I'm done with AEW for right now.
I'm not even talking about them. Lynch wants to know, when are we seeing the final boss again? That's the big key, and I think we're going to bring that up next week, depending on what happens in the Bloodline. That's definitely something to keep in mind. When is The Rock coming back? Chris goes, referring to Joe Hendry. His contract's almost up at TNA, and he officially signs once his contract expires. There's no guarantee that he's going to officially sign with WWE. When he does, then we'll talk. But everything right now is speculation. As of right now, assume that he's going to re-sign with TNA.
Yep.
But no, when it comes to the final boss, right, I think that's something you definitely bring up next week, and when we see the next evolution of the Bloodline. Because could the final boss be pulling the strings for Solo Sikoa and his team? Or is the final boss the fourth member instead of Sami Zayn?
All Samoans versus all Samoans.
Yep. There's a lot better ways to play it out. But I just don't know what The Rock's schedule looks like, if that fits the mold there. I know he said he would be back for a long while, right? And everything like that, but he does have he's got his hands in so many different cookie jars.
Man needs to take him out for a little bit.
Right, and it's just a matter of where are you at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go from one to the other kind of seamlessly? That's a big question. But all right, guys, that is going to be it for us tonight. We will be back next week. We have 2 weeks before Bash in Berlin. Hopefully, more of the card is starting to build, and we're able to kind of visualize what we're going to be dealing with here. As we get closer to Gunther's first title defense, Nia Jax, I'm sure, will end up having some kind of defense there. Cody versus Kevin Owens, and the mixed tag team match. But we will be back next week. For Butters, I'm Ritz. Until then, tell somebody you love them. We will see you on the other side. Make sure you follow A2D on all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. And until next time, peace, love, and joy. We're out of here.